I'm gonna figure it out.
We,
Singer, this too hard.
it's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, the haters, the addicts, and the fanatics out there? It's Larry Patterson with GT365. It's Game Time 365 Sports right here on the GTSN. It's the Game Time Sports Network. Among we hit episode 42. Let me get my banner right. Episode 42. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. Today is a good day. We have all 32 teams finally in camp. We get a preseason game next, what, 8 days? Um, yeah, big extensions coming down.
Ooh, man,
Congratulations to them young men. They got paid and blessed this week. Congratulations to them all.
oh man, speaking of the extensions today, we got a lot to unpack here today and try to get it to y'all guys in a timely manner. But man, we hear I think today wasn't as far. I think some teams are practicing, or maybe the teams that's already been there. But for the most part, minus like the four teams that's already went underway. Everybody, and I think it's mainly introductory press conferences, things like that. Tomorrow they probably actually get to work. So we here, and man, this is one of my favorite times of the season. Um, I do want to talk to you about Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals. They did agree to the 1 year deal, rework deal. It's 15.5 million guaranteed, up to 21 million with incentives. So the Cardinals got their quarterback for the season, uh, and which it was the right way to go. You don't want to go into the season with a young Carson Beck, even though I feel like he could end the season or be a starting quarterback at some point during the season. Did you feel like the Cardinals made the right decision?
Yeah, I feel like they made the right decision. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Um, yes, for the immediate future, I think they made the right decision by giving Jacoby Brissett a pay raise. Um, I think this football team needs some stability there. We know he's not the long term answer for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think the long term answer may be not on the roster right now. So we might be looking at 2027. But for what he can do for Trey McBride, young Maserati Marv, Michael Wilson, you know Jeremiah Love, James Conner, those type of guys. I mean, yes, it's not the greatest unit in the world, but for Jacoby Brissett, I think there's enough there to where they can you know scare some people, or at least be a productive football team and be in some games, and you know continue to show Jacoby Brissett his worth around the league, because we know he's been a backup multiple places, got a couple Super Bowls under his belt, being backups for the Patriots, and yeah, man, anytime a guy get a pay raise in the league is always a win for for me, because the NFL stands for not for long, and he felt like he deserved the raise. The Arizona Cardinals felt like he deserved the raise as well. I'm kind of glad they got to some kind of mutual agreement so they can start the season fresh with the new head coach. New head coach coming over. That's very imperative to get your guy in the center. And so, yeah, man, let's camp away in camp we go.
Even if it was just for this year, I think it was right. 14 games played last year. He started 12, 3,366 yards thrown last year, 23 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Sacked 43 times. Um,
Yeah, and, before we move on, I'm gonna say, I said I was gonna play devil's advocate. The one part of me say, yeah, give him the money, give him the raise, but the other part of me says, bro, you're gonna play out your contract. This, play this whatever the salary is. You can play through it, and we're not guaranteeing you nothing up this year. And plus, in my mind, and we'll speak on more of this when we get to 32 and 32. Stay tuned, by the way. Um, you kind of want to see what Carson Beck has, so you can know what you have on your roster because this will be a big offseason for um, the Cardinals as a franchise. Getting letting Kyler Murray go, letting him sign with Minnesota. You draft Carson Beck in the third round, and you want to see what he has right now as a rookie, so you can have a clear path and a better picture of what you need to do going into the next offseason. So that's why I say I play devil's advocate with that, but for sure, get your money. Jacoby said, get your money.
Definitely. Not a signing yet, but it's been some rumors going around that Christian Gonzalez and the Patriots could be nearing an extension. I think the highest paid cornerback right now is Trent McDuffie
McDuffie.
for the Rams. I want to say that's around maybe 30, 31 or something like that. I've been hearing reports saying that the deal could be up to like 31 around that range. And I feel like this extension could have been done and it should have been done, especially after his playoff run, him having the games in the AFC Championship game. I know the Super Bowl didn't particularly go his way, but I mean, he blanketed the JSN, quite well. But I feel like it's kind of delayed and it should have happened. But you know how business always goes in that aspect. What you think?
Yeah, man. I think they'll get something done. Um, right now it's just a game of chicken. Who's what's the first domino that's going to fall between him and Witherspoon? As you stated earlier in the show that Denzel Ward got 2 years, 60 some $1 million. So that could be a telltale that, hey, okay, this is the market, this is the bar. What can we go from here? So I expect something to speed and accelerate with Gonzalez here in the next couple of weeks. Um, maybe before the first preseason game. But yeah, something will happen. I think, like you said, I would have done it at the beginning of the offseason. Give him 35 and call it a day.
I think he deserves it.
35. Yes, I'm giving him 35, calling it a day. Because what he did in the Super Bowl, and not only the Super Bowl, but throughout the season, but that Super Bowl was really the marquee highlight of what he did, to JSN, or because we know what JSN was during the regular season, what kind of tear he was on with the Seahawks. And for
Phenomenal.
him to, oh yeah, and for him to get limited to how he did in the Super Bowl, and Christian Gonzalez having him 1-on-one majority of that game, that kind of shows the caliber player that you have in your building, and you don't want to mess around with all pro type stuff and get a trade requested. That won't happen, but I say, hey, somebody has to go first. Um, I think Gonzo will get done. Call it 35 and call it a day.
Um, Speaking of Denzel Ward, 2 years, $62.2 million contract extension, 52.3 million guaranteed, and it makes him the highest paid defensive back in NFL history for the second time in his career. His new average annual salary will be 31.1.
Mm-mm.
So now it might be 31.2, it might be 32. It's like that fighting game. So somebody he's the highest paid right now up until somebody else gets their deal done. I feel like there was the right moves for the Browns. Denzel Ward's been a staple in that franchise for the what he's been there for a minute.
Yeah, he's been there.
Don't know the exact years right now, but he's been balling. He's been stating his claim. That he is, CB1 over there. So, uh, what's your thoughts on that? I think you kind of talked about that a little earlier, but
Yeah, I think it was the right. He's a good quarterback. I remember him coming out of Ohio State. That last year, he was just dominant, man. He just took. You can just put him on a side of the field by himself and just let him do his thing. And he's been consistent with the Browns. Yeah, I know he had a couple injuries here and there that kind of slowed his production down, but he's always around the ball. He's a good tackler, and I think that's what the defense of the Browns need now more than ever. Now that Miles Garrett is gone, um, you won't be able to get the pressure like you used to. We're hoping Jared Verse can, get in his footsteps. Get in Miles Garrett's footsteps and take off. But to have that 1-2 combo of a good pass rush and the number one corner, that was important for Cleveland to get that done. And they have a lot solid defense, with Carson Schlesinger. And Denzel will be the veteran and the go-to guy, the leader of that locker room on the defensive side of the ball. So I think this was smart by the Browns to get this done. Um, get it out the way so it won't be a distraction, throughout camp.
Speaking of getting some deals done, not letting the distractions take place, Philadelphia and Jalen Carter agreed to a 4-year, $152 million contract extension, $106 million guaranteed, and it can reach a maximum of $160 million. That has him at an annual average salary of $38 million per year right now, which eclipsed Jeffrey Simmons, who signed his, I want to say it was his 2-year extension with $35 million. So 13 and a half sacks in his first 3 years. I know he only played 11 games last year. That was due to, I think it was a suspension. And
spitting in Dak on the first game. Like, bro, what are we doing?
And he might have got hurt or along the way. Correct me if I'm wrong. But man, what a move by the Eagles! We was talking about it. We always talk about off camera anyway, but we was talking about Philly potentially trading him, and Philly look like they're gonna commit to him for the next 4 years or so. I know there's some language in the contract that's off, but at least for the next, what it says, the next 4 years, they are committing to Jalen Carter.
Yeah, man. Like he certified game records. You remember how Ndamukong Suh used to be a game record back in his young Detroit days?
Yeah.
Man, you can make the argument, man, that Super Bowl run that Philly had a few years ago, if Jalen Carter didn't play out of his mind versus the Rams be playing that Super Bowl against the Chiefs instead of the Eagles. He played one of those type games, couldn't nobody block him. The poor center and guard for the Rams was you were just there that day. Ain't want nothing you could do. And if you need a defensive tackle or defensive lineman, go to Athens, Georgia. You guaranteed to find one. The way they pumping them out, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, you got a bag. Jordan Davis just signed a contract last year. You got Jalen Carter, Devontae. Go to Georgia if you want your defensive tackle for
A
sure.
lot of money wrapped up on that defensive line.
I swear, I don't know what Kirby smart. He know how to find them, man. And Jalen Carter was behind Jordan Davis. Remember the year Jordan Davis came out, we thought he was it. And people were saying, nah, number 88 behind him. That's the one you want to go get. And when he came out in 2023, I understood why. Yeah, we know he has some off the field issues. So I'm sure, Howie has some type of language in the contracts to where, they can protect themselves. But yeah, like you said, we were talking about potentially trading him to some teams that they could use his services with the risk. There's a little risk involved, but how we take care of his people, and he knows how valuable Jalen Carter is to this defense because next year you got Quinion and Cooper DeJean coming up, and they make all pros, so they're going to be looking for bags next year. So to have that core and that nucleus with Quinion, Jalen, and Cooper all under contract, because I don't think I see any of them getting out of the building. I think that's super duper important, and I think that's a nice nucleus going into the future for whoever set staff may be going in the line.
I can see them investing a lot in their defense and kind of like going on the offensive route. I mean, even though they invested in Saquon and Hurts, he's coming up in probably about another year or so. But I can see them kind of like going the cheaper route when it comes to Devontae Smith as well. But I can see them also going the cheaper route when it comes to on the offensive side of the ball because you're paying you got a lot going on over here on the defensive side of the ball. So speaking of on the other side of the ball, Vikings. It's not sexy, but the Vikings and right tackle Brian O'Neill agreed to a 4-year, $96 million contract extension today. So Minnesota wraps up their right tackle for the next 4 years. He was selected in 2018 in the second round, and he started 120 games over his 8-year career. So he's played 14 years in every season back to back. dating to 2019. So, what a way for the Vikings to get their right tackle wrapped up and get some extra protection for either Kyler Murray or JJ McCarthy, whoever just so happens to be the quarterback.
Yeah, man, I think that's huge, man. You get Brian O'Neill. That's Lane Johnson type money. That's Trent Williams type money. So they for the Vikings to think of him and that ilk and that's top shelf. That means he must be, he got to be a heck of a football player. And then you get Christian Darrisaw, where he's probably one of the top 10, top 12 left tackles in the game. And you want to keep Kyler Murray upright, you want to keep him protected so you can get the ball to Hawkinson, Jefferson, Addison. And keep building that offensive line, man. So take care of your trenches. And we're seeing a lot more of the money going to the trenches. So we know what positions in the league are coming more premium positions. So offensive line, defensive line, because the money's follow. They say I always say follow the money, right? And that's where the money's going to these tackles and these pass rushers and these ends that can get after. So yeah, man, I think it's a smart by the Vikings to lock them up. And whether you like you said is JJ or it's Kyler Murray, we all think it's going to be Kyler Murray at the start of the season. I think that's a good move, and it's a smart move by Kevin O'Connell and that organization to get that done before camp kicks off.
Speaking of teams that need to make some decisions, you got Baker Mayfield and you got Vita Vea. Vita Vea already requesting a trade. Baker Mayfield is going to be playing under his last year on his deal. Is there a chance that I think there's going to be a chance that they'll get something done with Baker during the season, possibly? But I think he just has to show a little bit more, and he's capable of it. Vita Vea on the other side, 31 years old, and we talked about this yesterday as well. Uh, it seems like the contract talks have stalled with Tampa Bay, but do you see an extension between Tampa and these two guys right here, which is probably the most important right now on the team?
Of course, the quarterback is probably the most important one. Baker has came out. His camp has said it reported that he said once camp starts, contract talks will stop. So I don't expect anything to happen there. Now the Vita Vea one is kind of tricky because Levante David retired, Mike Evans retired. Those are some of the pillars of the defense. I mean, that team that's not there anymore. Those on a Super Bowl team. They got getting older, whatever the case may be. Um, well, not Mike Evans retired. He signed with the
Yeah,
49ers. You know what I mean?
I didn't know if you said that or not.
Yeah. He went signed with the 49ers on a 3-year deal. But that team is getting older. They so I don't know if it's the right move to extend him or just let him play out his $17 million base salary this year and let him be a free agent. Now, I know there's a couple teams that's reported, out there that he want to go to the West Coast. He wants to play for the Raiders and any of the West Coast teams. Now, I know I talked to you off screen and said, hey, the Raiders is a target. And me coming from the numero uno, I don't think that makes sense for us to do that to where our team is in a life cycle. We're a young team, bringing a 31-year-old. We're probably 2 or 3 years away from competing for playoff spots. He'll be 34 then.
He's ready to
That'll
win.
make, yeah, and he's ready to win now. He can have a team right now. Um, so I know you had discussed Detroit. I know you had discussed a couple other teams. The Chargers make sense. They have the money. They can sign them, eat that up. That'll be a huge need. But I'm gonna give you one more team. Seattle makes sense because he went to the University of Washington and he's right there. That's his backyard. And then if the Rams by some chance get in on the sweepstakes, I don't know what they're gonna do for it's like money wise. Because imagine having Aaron Donald, Vita Vea, and Miles Garrett on the same defensive line. You might be going to cancel the season or cancel the NFC West at least. Yeah, it's over with. Um, I know you
Quite
said Detroit.
possible.
Yeah, it's possible, but they have to. We'll talk about that when we get to the Aaron Donald bit. But they have to do some moving with the money for Aaron Donald's contract. So who knows? But I know you said Detroit. And you were not saying you were gung ho on Detroit. I hear it. And I spoke about Tyleek Williams, how let him develop. But I'm gonna give you one more team. that's probably in a win now mode that needs to do this. And if this GM wants to, if the GM is serious, the Buffalo Bills need to be in on this. They need to be on the phone right now. They need to be on the phone right now. You got Gregory Rousseau. You got Ed Oliver. He's up and down with injuries. You got Deion Walker, where you drafted last year. Vita Vea is miles and miles better than Deion Walker. Coming as a second year player. You got Josh Allen. He's 30 years old. You've got this close. You've been 13 seconds. You've been whatever. You're a interception away last year against the daggone Broncos from going back to the AFC Championship. You went and got your DJ Moore. You traded Teron Johnson. You went and you got Maxwell Harrison for his second year. Um, Kincaid, you got the pieces. You got a roster right now to go ahead and win a Super Bowl. Could this be the piece that puts you over the top? And Vita Vea being playing a three technique between the two guards and the tackle, any of the A gaps, getting penetration pressure. He's probably second, third in the league in pressures over the past couple years. I know him and Jeffrey Simmons and Byron Murphy, they all been like top dogs in statistical categories for, pressures, and stuff like that. So if I'm Brandon Bean and I know, hey, I gotta go see Drake May, I gotta go see Mahomes, I gotta go see Bo Nix, I gotta go see a Lamar, what can give me the edge to get over that hump, that proverbial hump that's been holding us back? And we know how the Buffalo run game was last year. It wasn't the best. So you go in, you trade for a Vita Vea, and you see what you can do. That goes to show me that you're all in. And I think Brandon Bean needs an all in type of move right now. I don't think he wanted to stand pat and not do anything. I think if the Buffalo Bills, they need to be on the phone with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, see if they can get something done and extend them. Because you have the money, you're going to a new stadium. The NFL's made about $14 billion last year, and they dished out 450 million plus to each team. Get Vita Vea, man. See if they take you over the top. So I think the Buffalo Bills make sense, and the New England Patriots make sense too. Imagine having Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, and Vita Vea on that defensive line. Yeah, those two.
I don't think contractually that might not work.
It may not work. What if you can restructure and extend?
Hmm?
You can restructure and extend.
There's always ways.
Right. Hey, I don't know who on the big bag over there now, but hey, can we restructure something? I will look up the money here, um, after a while, but I think for me, the Buffalo Bills need to be the Buffalo Bills, the Chargers, and the Patriots need to be in on that. But I really like to see him in Buffalo. Imagine him in the middle of that thing with Rousseau, Deion Walker, young guys that he can teach, and just take you over to Ed Oliver on that D line too.
And when you had mentioned Deion Walker earlier, they were there's poised for him to to have a kind of a breakout season. He was drafted last year out of Kentucky. I want to say they have another young interior guy too.
Yeah, it's probably somebody else there, but I'm just thinking of Dion right now. They got Landon Jackson. They drafted him out of Arkansas a couple years ago.
Arkansas last year.
Oh yeah, last year. Yeah, they have young guys, but they don't have that dog. And I think Vita Vea he's a significant upgrade over all those guys right now, especially for the window that Buffalo's in. Josh Allen, he's 30. He's probably placed about 40. But hey, man, these quarterbacks in the AFC, they're getting better and better. They're superpowers are the quarterbacks in the AFC. So it's not guaranteed. But if I was Brandon Bean, like I stated and reiterated again, I would at least try to have a phone call with the Buccaneers and see, hey, what can it take? Do you need a 2 and a 7, a 2 and a 5 in 2027? Do you need a young player back? Because I can ship you, one of them young guys back and just try from there. So that was one of my other teams that I thought about yesterday going down the road.
Minnesota.
Hey, hey, listen,
I
man.
know I know. What's the young guy that they drafted?
Caleb Banks.
Caleb Banks. I know you drafted Caleb Banks. I know you got Dominique Orange. You drafted him in the third round as well. But like as you stated about Buffalo, nothing. It's nothing better than that experience. A guy that won a championship. So in a win now mode. So window. So yeah, I would add them as well too. So. And anybody else in the chat, who should, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just so happen to trade Via Vea, what's a good landing spot for him? And I mean, he could re-sign back with them.
Yeah, this could be just a ploy to say, "Hey, I'm serious about moving on." They could just come to an agreement here while we talking. Who knows? So, but
Whole lot of
yeah,
deals.
man. Yeah. Ping, 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 ping. All here dollar bills is flying across my phone.
Speaking of big defensive guys, Aaron Donald considering NFL comeback. I know that's been a recurring thing since he retired. But now that you have Myles Garrett on that one side there, on that defensive line as well, uh, I know we don't know, but do you think Aaron Donald could possibly come back? And I know he's kind of content with what he's doing, but there's always that possibility he continues to stay working out, continue to be ready.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
That's like a stay working out. Could I see it? Absolutely. It all depends on what's his motivations. Then, do you want a second ring? You know that he got the money. Got the accolades, whatever, whatever. Then if he wants championships, he'll definitely come back. But I personally think Aaron Donald don't come back. I think he stays retired. I think he's happy retired. Um,
yeah, sit on the couch. Yeah.
yeah, sit on the couch, bro. We ain't got to see you terrorize nobody no more. We don't see you terrorize folks since 2014. We ain't trying to see that no more. The NFC West tired of you. They tired. So, but yeah, I can see him coming back if he want to just make a legacy push. But his legacy is already stamped. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer. But if you want more rings and more championships, I can see him coming back. But I don't know if that motivates him now. I know he's having, spending time with his kids and his family, whatever the case may be, working out. He work out with pros all the time. So that might be what he enjoyed doing there. But I wouldn't mind seeing him come back, but I don't think he comes back. I think he enjoys his post NFL life, and I think he continue to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you never know.
Sure.
Like I agree with you. I feel like he's, good with where he's at. Helping the young guys out whenever he's needed. His kids, family, things like that. But then, you never know if he gets that urge. It's just, what, just one more run, and it doesn't have to be around this time of the year because I mean, who wants to go through the whole training camp preseason? Probably even though
Thank you.
he won't be playing. But that whole training camp getting ready part, it's like who wants to go through that? You
If
know,
they, if they say, Donald, hey, can we get you after Thanksgiving? Let's go.
there you
Let's
go.
go.
Jamal Adams, your boy, signed with the Vikings today. Now, I wanna say this: just because he signed does not mean that he'll be on the 53-man roster once they figure things out. It's kind of like like a camp body, um, to compete for a job. Uh, but I feel like he fits well in that Brian Flores system right there. He can do a lot of things there, especially blitzing the quarterback, the run game, things like that. Uh, so do you think it's a good move for Minnesota to go after him uh, right here? 45 tackles last year, 30 solo. He played 17 games last year. That's good for change.
Yeah. I mean, do I feel like it's a good move? Yeah. I mean, I really don't think too much of this move. I mean, I guess for Minnesota, if they like it, I love it for him. But he didn't really do anything for me last year. He reminded me of like Devin White when we had Devin White. He was a big tackling machine, and he won't even he was 2019 Devin White with the Bucks was going crazy.
Yeah.
and then you get like this the saturated version. It's like, so that's how I feel about Jamal. That's how I feel about Jamal Adams team. Like, he's a roster spot. He's a roster spot. He take a ball. He ain't no bum. He still get to the quarterback, not like he used to in his Jets days. But yeah, I think he still has a little something in the left field tank, and I think the way Brian Flores uses defensive players in all versatile situations, I think he might bring some value to that defense, and I can see him sticking around and being on a 3-man roster for a little bit here.
Um, let's do a commercial break real quick. Got some things popping up this week, and go ahead and take a look. That's right, people. 32 and 32 this week. Well, yeah, just coming next week, Sunday. But we're bringing it back the second time. Me and you, we doing this thing again. We get some special guests on, and it's a fun little exercise that I thought of a few years ago, and I did like maybe 2 or 3 years of it by myself, and it gets the nerds like us prepared for the NFL season. You got training camp going on, you got baseball going on, but it's dry because it's really no action other than you just find out what your team did in the first days of training camp. So yeah, man, we're getting ready for our second season together, and man, I can't wait, man. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun, man. Like I said, we're gonna have special guests on. You probably will see me hating on a couple teams, probably everybody in the AFC West. But at the same time, we're going to be objective and tell the truth as well. Um, whether it's my team, everybody knows what my team is now. If you don't know by now, where you've been living at, and your team, just off of AFC Championship appearance, and my team is fourth place team, and yeah, I can say, I hate the Broncos, but I'm gonna be objective and I'm gonna be, honest as possible. And I know some things we're going to disagree on, and that's the beauty of the 32 and 32. There's some things we're going to disagree on, and who wants to watch a show that everybody agrees on everything? That's kind of boring. So I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. I'm actually kind of amped up to get it started. So August 2nd, get your popcorn ready for sure.
Uh, you know, one of my 32 and 32 predictions last year, everybody told me that,
Lord Jesus, here we go. Here we go. Lord Jesus.
everybody told me I was a fool for even thinking this, that Daniel Jones was gonna be in the comeback player of the year conversation. And I want to say for up until 8 games, he was there.
Boy, if you
was
had some
smoking.
money, boy, if you had a cash out on FanDuel, boy, we have a whole studio right there. Boy, I'm trying to tell you.
Definitely. So man, we definitely can't wait to bring that to y'all. And man, y'all tap in, share all that type of stuff, man. We can't wait to do it, man. Back to our last news of the day before we get to the last segment. Thoughts and prayers out to Kyle Shanahan, who was involved in an accident. This was like in July, like in the middle part of July, I want to say.
Yeah.
He suffered non-life-threatening injuries, and he suffered a concussion, 3 broken ribs, a broken hand, a broken nose, and needed over 40 stitches in his face. I think he did come out and say that it was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, hey, thankful that he's alive, and that he can be able to, he may not be at 100% right now, but he's able to at least still listening and hearing what's going on in training camp. I know those guys at training camp right now, but he can still kind of keep his ears and eyes on the scene of what's going on. So continue to heal and see him on the sideline week one. They play in Australia and things like that. But man, that was tough, man.
Yeah, man, that was tough, man. You want to see anybody go through anything like that. Um, yeah, man, it's everything you say. He said it was his fault. He was. I don't know if he was on the cell phone. I don't know the exact details. I have to do some more research before I speak all the way on it. But man, everything could come crashing down in the blink of a second, man. You just gotta be, hey, you gotta be on the swivel and be alert at all times, man. But glad he's okay. I'm glad he's gonna be ready to roll come week one. Get to see him orchestrate, his offense like the maestro he is with Mike Evans, Deshaun Stribbler, Ricky Pearsall, CMC, George Kittle. Man, he got some weapons to work with. So I'm excited to see what he can do with this team and can it be a threat to the Rams in the NFC West this year. So yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely see him first game of the season in Australia. I want to say.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
well, our last segment of the show, the top 10 quarterbacks due for a deep playoff run. And you can't see on the bottom. You got Kyler Murray there at the bottom, and 1 through 10, you guys can chime in and let me know how you feel. At number 10, I got Kyler Murray for the Vikings, and it's definite him going into a system with Kevin O'Connell, who let's face it, a lot of people are high on that duo right there than I've ever heard before. I'm not, but I mean that remains to be seen. But I feel like him, um, with the weapons that he has over there, with Addison, with Jefferson, um, you gotta make something out of it. And if not, I think this is his last run. At number 9, I got Brock Purdy. Um, I think he's already been to the Super Bowl in his career, but after a couple of years removed, I feel like if he can stay healthy and his whole team can stay healthy, rather, um, he at least go back to the big dance to at least win it this time after being so close the first time. Jared Goff at number 8, being in the NFC Championship game, and we talked about that the other day with in the first half of that game looking so good, but then after that, it was pretty much nothing. So I think as long as they can continue to keep building on that defensive side of the ball, they did lose some pieces on the offensive with David Montgomery. So him, Joe Burrow, he should have been higher on the list, but with all that they've been through, deep playoff run for him too. Aaron Rodgers going into his last year. You got weapons over there as well. I think that team is built to make a deep playoff run. And Aaron Rodgers going into his last year, he's gotta do it. Jordan Love, I think people give Jordan Love flack, but I also feel like they give him a lot of credit. And I mean he's won some playoff games or a playoff game. But to go into this year, I think it's definite that he's got to make a deep playoff run. We'll get Mr. Roll back on at some time, share his thoughts about it. Dak Prescott, man. With that, as loaded as that team is right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and you picking guys up on the defensive side. Normally around this time of the year, these Cowboys are kind of mouthy, you know. Kind of mouthy. Either somebody's fighting for a contract extension or Jerry Jones running off at the mouth or something. I think he spoke for the first time yesterday or today for like it's the first time I've seen in forever. But I mean, they've been very quiet over there, and I think that Dallas is could be up to something big this season for the Cowboy fans. Lamar Jackson. Definitely. And you got changes with the OC over there, head coach. Justin Herbert is another one, and then Josh Allen as well. So, what do you think about my list, man? Did I get it right or?
Top 10 quarterbacks due for a playoff run. I mean, Lamar. Okay, I'm gonna be honest about Lamar here. He a second round warrior. He's a second round warrior. He gets to the second round, and it seems like every year he just stall out. The only way that Justin Herbert gonna have a deep player run if they have the number one seed got to buy. Because we know because we know if they go into the wild card game, it's we see what happened the last two times. He got bounced up out there. Um, it's Aaron Rodgers' last hurrah. I really don't believe in the Steelers like everybody else maybe. People are a little too high in my opinion. Because of we spoke about this in prior episodes. I have questions about their offensive line and the consistency of the tackles. So I don't know how they're going to hold up. And then Kyler Murray coming over to Kevin O'Connell. How fast can that thing gel with Justin Jefferson, Addison, and that weaponry? And what's the other? Can you pull the graphic back up one more time? Um, Jordan Love. That's an interesting one because he has all the talent, all the weapons in the world. It sucks. I don't know how much of Micah missing some of this year is going to hurt them. I think he won't be back until October. So I don't know how many games that'll
Yeah,
cost you in that competitive NFC North. So yeah, I think he has to, make a playoff run. Not, I think Jordan Love getting to the the conference championship game is probably a successful season in my opinion. Can I see him doing that? Yes, but also you have to deal with like I don't see Caleb Williams up there. That's probably one I would have put up there as well with that
and
team and that weaponry. He go ahead.
I just want to before I let you go again. The only reason why I didn't put Caleb or Drake or Bo in this list because in this list because they're going into their third season and these guys are more so veterans and things like that. So and just in case if anybody sees it says where Drake at, where Caleb at, well these guys are still fairly young in their career. Yes, they should be up there, but we just sticking to the vets right now that should be already gotten there, or that need to get there. But
Yeah, and it's crazy that you wild that you bring up Drake, Mo, and Caleb. Two of those guys teams won the AFC Championship last year, and one guy had the
could have
the
been.
Rams, the Rams to the very end, played them tight to the very end in the divisional round. So the three guys that we omitted off the list, those are the ones that went further than probably on this list, and they're part of their whole career. But outside of Josh Allen, of course, he's been to an AFC Championship. Um, but yeah, I think that list is pretty solid, and yeah, I agree. I probably would have put Caleb on there, but I understand.
And I know Joe has been there. He's been to the Super Bowl. He even came close to even winning it. Uh, but they didn't get it done. And he's a few years removed. What was that? 2021, I want to say. So a few years removed from that, and by the stories from then into now, how the injuries, the defense, the all of that. I feel like he's got to get it done, and I feel like if it's not going to happen this year, where will he be next year? Will he be still? Will he still be there? Will changes be made within the organization? Things like that. Will he be somewhere else? You know what I'm saying? So, Kyler Murray, where do you see his ceiling? I feel like if he gets to the divisional round, I feel like that's a success for him. But
Yeah,
as a whole, I feel like the team should be reaching further. But as a ceiling for him, divisional round.
yeah. I'm telling you, man, like if they can get to a wild card game, I think that's a success because that division is so competitive, man. From Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, it's Chicago. That's a tough division. Remember a couple years ago, we were talking about the North being one of the weakest divisions. That's before Ben Johnson came, before Caleb Williams got drafted, before Detroit became who Detroit became, before Jordan Love came, before he got Jacobs, Christian Watson, all those guys. And then you got Minnesota coming through with Kyler Murray. They had Sam Darnold. We was talking about that's probably one of the worst divisions now. Now they're probably the best division in the NFC, probably. arguably in the NFC East, NFC West. You flip a coin, however you want to. But yeah, man. So I think it'll be huge for Kyler if he can get to the wild card round, get to a divisional round with the new team. That'll say a whole lot about Kyler and his maturation. And, the work he put in the offseason, and how Kevin O'Connell is just further validates himself as a quarterback wizard because he can take anybody and take them to the playoffs. So
That remains to be seen. I'm not as high on Minnesota as a lot of other people, but hey, that's the reason why we have 32 and 32 coming up. We can discuss more about that. Brock Purdy, his ceiling. I mean, he's already been to the Super Bowl, so yeah, is his team constructed to get back there? I feel like it is. I feel like it is if they hold up as far as
yeah,
injury.
health is going to be on their Trent Williams, Mike Evans, CMC, Nick Bosa coming off of ACL, Fred Warner coming off of his injury, great Greenlaw back. So whole lot of ifs when it comes to health over there. So, and they by that substation or whatever going on that they say it's a horror show for them. So who knows? So
Jared Goff.
with a new OC, I think second year with a new OC, yeah, I think they can get back to the divisional conference championship. Probably a stretch. Um, but divisional definitely for sure. They can get that fire back like they had back in 2023 before Jaden Daniels and them came in and just was the boogeyman. I think they can get back.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Sykes. Joe Sykes is my guy through it all. So yeah, I could definitely see them getting to if he's has a clean bill of health with the upgraded defense, bringing Dexter Lawrence over, Dak Hill, drafting well, getting Boye Mafe to come over from the Seahawks on a 3-year 60. I could definitely see them getting to where they need to be. I don't know outside of Mike Gesicki with what they have in the passing attack and the running game, scare me a little bit. But we know what the receivers are. So if Joe can stay healthy, have a clean pocket, deliver the ball, and just be the point guard, we can see them back in the AFC Championship with no problem.
I'm a little higher on the Steelers than the Vikings.
Yeah,
Just
you are. You
for,
way
for
you
an
way
example.
way higher than I am. My
for,
lord, boy.
we use that team for an example. But I'm looking at what they have and on both sides of the ball. And I'm like, hey, it wouldn't surprise me if this team was in the big dance or if they was in the big game or making a deep playoff run. Aaron Rodgers, I already know how you feel toward him. Jordan Love, we spoke on him earlier. I think his seal has got to be NFC Championship game. After a couple years,
Ooh, it gotta be.
it's gotta be. It's gotta be. I mean, you've been in the divisional round for two times. I don't know how many playoff victories does Jordan Love have? Because I know he beat Dallas in 1 year.
Yeah, they embarrassed out of that one. Yeah, that might be it.
Was it twice?
It may be. I'm not really sure.
Uh, Producer, we'll get on that. But
I'm gonna give you. Go ahead. I'm gonna give you
go
one
ahead.
more name
Go
too.
ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, but I feel like with Jordan Love, I'm trying to see if he won a couple playoff games or just that one. But I feel like, especially if Michael Parsons comes back, he's coming back in October, November around that time. He probably won't be as healthy as till probably playoffs anyway.
To
But
get his sea legs under him, probably November, December.
yeah, but if that team can get in the postseason and say if they got a good year going on where they at least get a game or two in Lambeau,
Mm.
oh man, when that weather is definitely working in their favor.
You have snot for icicles on your nose. Absolutely.
Al
So
Harris.
yeah, exactly. That boy's like that baller too. So Jordan Love is 1-3 in the playoffs. His first playoff win came, he beat the Cowboys, and
Okay.
and then lost to the 49ers, Eagles in the wild card, and then they lost to the Bears last year. So he's 1-3. So he has one.
I don't know why I thought that 49ers game was a divisional round game. So that was a wild card game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, uh,
No, it was a divisional. You're right. It was a divisional.
So they had a bye.
Yeah. No, 49 had to buy.
Okay. Uh. Okay. Um. Dak Prescott.
What you say?
Dak Prescott. Gotta be. It's gotta be NFC champ.
Yeah, yeah. I drew a blank for a second. I was thinking about the divisional with the Packers. I drew a blank for a second. But yeah, got to be NFC Championship with that loaded roster. Pickens, they got to be. You got to be. This is not his best team that he's had since the 9 All Pro players he had way many moons ago. But I feel like now never, because it was a report out there that the Cowboys were high on the Sorsby supplemental draft guy to pick. They was really give up a good pick to get him in the building.
So they already
So,
quarterback of the future.
hey, that's the report. They are. No, I'm not saying they are, but I think they're gonna probably, if things remain the same, they're probably gonna start looking somewhere else in the future.
And because Sorsby could be one of those names called in the draft
Mhm.
coming to DC, you know.
Could be, could be. So many of them. But I'm gonna give you one more guy, right?
Go ahead.
Jalen Hurts. He needs a deep playoff run. He needs it.
He's had two.
He needs another for him to
He
be the
needs.
starting quarterback for Eagles next year. He needs another
I'm not
because
against you. I'm just like, hey, he just,
yeah, he needs another one. But we know how the Philly fans are. We know how Philly media are. We know how that part of the country is when it comes to the Eagles. They're crazy. I mean, they were throwing snowballs at Santa Claus back in the '70s. Like, who doing that? But they got a jail underneath the field and stuff back in the day. They wild some wild boys out there in Philly. But the much scrutiny as Jalen Hurts gets, he's always on first take. He's always numero uno, block one on all these shows, whether it's a good game or a bad game. Got to be a bad game. They crucify him. You don't. You have the beef, with, well, not the beef, but the the little friction with him and AJ Brown last year. Um, you getting Saquon to be, your running back, lead you to a Super Bowl, and he feel like he's still disrespected, right? You don't have AJ. You have Devontae as your number one. You draft Kyle Lemon, Eli Stowers. You draft them young weapons. Now they need you to be the guy to, they're relying more on of a Jalen Hurts passing game now going forward, to validate, hey, this $250 million contract that they do have, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. There's no more guaranteed money on the end of it. It's something's going funny to where they can get out of it. And I feel like, for him to remain in Philly and for our guy, I can't think of my guy name right, the head coach, to keep his
yeah.
job, Nick Sirianni, I think they need Jalen Hurts to play well and make a deep playoff run with this version of the Philadelphia Eagles. And we have a new OC and Sean Mannion, first time calling plays as offensive coordinator, because Stefanski gave up, not Stefanski, but Sirianni gave up play calling duties. So it's gonna be interesting. I think Hurts need this playoff run for um his time to fill it to be extended. Will it happen? I'm not really sure. Do I think they're the best team in that division? I don't know. I
Probably.
don't probably right. It's probably Dallas, Philly, Dallas. You flip a coin. Um, I don't know, man, but I think Jalen Hurts is to silence the quote unquote critics that he do have another deep playoff run and see if you can get you another Super Bowl. I think that's one that I didn't see on the list that I would like to throw in and just get your opinion.
If the Eagles win, if the Eagles win 20-13 in the Super Bowl, they probably still want him and Sirianni out of there.
Oh yeah. Man, you ain't put up no points, man. You know what I'm saying? Man, you ain't put up no points. Saquon was the MVP. What you do? All you do is hand the ball off of me. Get out. It'll never be good enough, So
It's no winning with him.
yeah, and then the Super Bowl they lost to the Chiefs. He went crazy. He threw for like 3 and some change and like 4
Oh,
touchdowns. But all I remember is that fumble he had before halftime that scooped and scored. That Nick Bolton scooped and scored, and that was the that was the game. That was the difference in the ball game. See, that's all I remember though. But
man,
nah,
you can't make them Philly fans happy for nothing, man.
at all. Because when
Uh,
I see him, I don't even look him in the face. I'd be like, yeah, bro. This is
so the last three, I kind of know how you feel about Lamar. Uh, Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, putting those three in there together because they're always kind of like linked together. Um, were they no? Were they drafted in the same year? I
no.
know
Herbert was 20. Herbert was 20.
Herbert was 20. Lamar
T
was
Law
20.
was yeah. Lamar and Allen was 18.
Yeah, Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because okay, all right. So Allen and Lamar definitely has to make a case for, I would say, Super Bowl, because you already been to the AFC title game. Herbert on the other hand, at least divisional round,
Bro, he gotta get out the wild card round, in my opinion.
and that's why I say at least divisional round. But I'm going to also say AFC title game,
I'm not doing that. Not yet.
and with Mike, let's see how it constructs first with Mike McDaniel coming over there. I know it's still going to be a heavy run offense, but with McNair coming over there, bringing his new tricks and and all that other stuff over there, uh, and then using the big body quarterback like Herbert is. I mean, then we could be seeing something different from the Chargers this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
if they put up 70 points like they did against the Broncos a couple years ago with Mike McDaniel offense, they Super Bowl champion. you know, it's Super Bowl champion. But I just don't see that,
Why
man.
did you have
Like,
to use that game?
because that's the game I just fresh on my mind from. You said Mike McDaniel, I automatically went there to his best performance as a head coach, and that was it. That was it. You brought up Mike McDaniel. I didn't bring up Mike McDaniel. You did. I didn't do it. I didn't do
I
it.
bought up McDaniel, but I ain't bring the game up.
But I'm talking about you said they got Mike McDaniel over there now, and I'm thinking, Mike McDaniel. He was the head coach of the Dolphins when he put up 70 against the Broncos, and A Chain had 4 times. See, you see how it worked. You did it. I didn't do it. You don't want to put a little gas into Mike McDaniel. I'm just trying to figure out, make it make sense why you were saying Mike McDaniel. That game was the memory for me. But hey, but all jokes in the corner though, all jokes in the side. Um, Divisional round, because I really don't have, like, Lamar and Herbert. I really don't have expectations for those guys. Like, I've seen it once. I've seen it once. I've seen it all. They can fool me this year, and I'll be boo boo the spook fine. But until you do it, I mean, I'm gonna keep you the wild card in second round, respectfully, for those two boys.
Yeah, so chat, let us know. Looking at the list again, if there's anybody that we left out, uh, somebody that we should have put in, let us know. Tell us the list is horrible. Uh,
This Larry list, by the way, not mine. So Larry, his list horrible. His list is terrible. Don't put it on me.
yeah, just put me out there, right?
Yeah, this is Larry's list. I'm fine.
So this is my list. So just let me know. Hey man, Larry, that list is trash, man. Just
You
let
see,
let.
you saying Larry, that list was terrible. Like,
So yeah, let us know. We might have another episode before we get into 32 and 32. You'll let us know when we just show up. Uh, we'll talk off camera on what team we should attack first. And yeah, you got anything else before we head up out of here?
no, man, I don't have anything else, man. I just get this little episode in here, get some stuff off our chest as far as extensions and signings and whoop de whoop. Yeah, man, it's probably next time you see us, we'll be 32 and 32, and we'll be get ready to go crazy then. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm jacked.
Let's hope for some more news, some more extensions, some more
We
money.
got something else to talk about.
Yeah,
The more news that come out, the more we gotta talk about. Let's give hope tomorrow something come crazy. What we gotta do, like emergency pod, pull on side the street. We gotta get this in. Give us some news, man. Yeah, the more things that come out, throughout the league, the more we got to talk about. So, man, NFL, do your thing.
definitely. This is gonna be a big year, not just for the NFL, not just for the players and all that, but for us as well.
Mhm.
So we're gonna continue to keep bringing it to y'all. Now, if you ain't got nothing else, Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you soon.